Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another reading. Spirit's been very clear with me today to address the mother wound. And when I say mother wound, it could be a mother figure in your life, as in your own mother or grandmother. It could be a female employer or someone in your workplace who carries a feminine energy, could be a male, but like a matriarch within your workplace, or your boss is female, that kind of thing. For some people, the dynamics that I'm about to describe has happened in the past and you've been addressing it or have addressed it in the past and broken the cycle. And so this will be clarification and confirmation for you. For other people, you're going through it right now, whenever it is that you see this video, and it will help you to see the woods for the trees and be able to navigate your way through. And for others of you, this is something that you haven't addressed yet. You maybe are starting to get an inkling that you might be getting manipulated or having difficulty with a parental figure or a strong female figure in your life, or mother or grandmother, or as I said before. But you've got an inkling that something's not working for you, or something's off, or causing you discomfort or emotional pain or confusion, mental confusion. And so this will give you clarity around that. In that case in particular, take everything with a grain of salt, meaning, not every part of what I say may be completely relevant to your individual situation, because this is a general reading and everyone's going through different things. So take what resonates for you and just reflect on the other things. They may become clear for you down the track. Okay? So it's always good to revisit my videos, because sometimes something I've said when you watched it the first time doesn't hit the target for you right in that moment based on your circumstances. But if you watch it in a few weeks' time or a few months' time, rewatch it, other things that I've said that didn't resonate with you the first time you watch it will make sense to you later on, because Spirit's been making it very clear to me that a lot of what they get me to say for a lot of people is sort of futuristic, in that it will be more useful for people once some weeks or months have passed, for them to re-watch it, and then things will make more sense, put it that way. So I'm hoping, give me the word, Spirit, that I can do their message justice. All I can do is my best, and hopefully it helps somebody out there. So, if you find yourself in a situation that's causing you confusion or emotional discord or emotional upset, as I said, it could be family, it could be workplace, it could be socially, it could be your social group, your social network, where there's a dominant female figure that's causing this situation for you. Or, as I said, it could be a male with a feminine energy. It doesn't mean that they're gay necessarily, but it's just, men can carry a feminine energy. They can be energetically feminine dominant, and as there can be males that are energetically masculine dominant, and the same with females as well. They can carry a more dominant masculine energy. Okay, my throat chakra's already starting to go. So bear with me as I try to make sense out of all of this. So we're sort of talking about a dynamic where there's a dominant feminine energy figure that puts pressure on you in the way of handing down to you a sense of obligation, or a sense of obligation, through they use guilt trips and subtle and not so subtle at times manipulation, because that person knows who you are and they know that you're a good person and that you want the best outcome for all, whatever's going on. And so they know that you've got a big heart and they know they can pull on your heartstrings. And this may be someone you've had several altercations with in the past about a certain ongoing topic, which may or may not directly affect affect them, but they're putting their two bob in anyway and sort of telling you what to do. And at times they're subtle, at times they're more sort of assertive or aggressive or outspoken about it, depending on how they read your energy. They know that you are a good person and you're big-hearted. And so what can happen is that you might be going through something or have gone through something really quite traumatizing, like an altercation with another family member or with someone at work or someone within your friendship network. And this person has something to say about it. It does affect them in some ways. They view it in that it does affect them, but what they're not doing is considering your feelings. And they certainly, when they express things, they don't come from a place of genuine concern for how you are mentally and emotionally around this topic, because they have their own agenda. Okay? And so in terms of familial, if it's a family situation, what we're talking about here is generational or ancestral familial patterns that have been passed down from one generation to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's come to you, and I believe I'm talking to very strong, like spiritual warriors. Like, look at this guy, right? I was talking about spiritual warriors and shields and all that, and shields and swords in my last video. And this guy was sitting here the whole time and I completely ignored him. There was a reason Spirit got me to pull this statue out for that reading. And then today they've told me to keep it there because they want to make sure that you're clear, that you're seen from the spirit realm as a spiritual warrior. You're here to break the curses, break the familial, ancestral hand-me-downs of cycles that are traumatizing, that have always been there in your family. And so I don't know if you can see him, but look at this guy. I've put the feathers in his head and the sword as a feather as well, because there were holes where there was obviously something, other things there, and I've found these feathers on my property and put them there. And so I just wanted to show you that, because that's who you are. You are a spiritual warrior. And it doesn't mean you're out to reap havoc. It means that you are a seeker of justice and you just want things to be right. You probably have copped the brunt of familial, friendship network or workplace scenarios where you're always used as a scapegoat or ousted or in some way because other people just can't deal with their emotions or with their egos, or they want a certain outcome and they'll push you around because they think they can. And so you end up having to leave the job or walk away from the family or friends or whatever. Like, you always end up holding the short end of the stick, or drawing the shortest stick. That could be a possibility for some. So this dominant female character, I'm going to call it female, even if it's a male, feminine energy, blah, 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 right? Has their own agenda, and they see your big heart and your intent. And it's like whenever you kind of pull away from this person because of the way that you don't feel supported by them, they have a way over time of gently, they go gentle again and they bring you back in. And so when you come back in, you get closer to them and it can be good for some time. But then there's always a cost. And it's like if I want to spend good time with this person or am working with this person and we're getting some good stuff done and it feels good, the cost sooner or later comes in. And what I mean by the cost is that they say, well, I've got you here now. While you're here, I think you should do this regarding that person or this thing. Or I think you should, they try to tell you what to do, basically. Now, if you're in a work, if it's a workplace situation, obviously, if it's someone senior to you, they're going to tell you what to do. But I'm not meaning simple instruction. I'm meaning they're trying to influence you to go against your intuition in regards to how you want to deal with a certain personal situation or project. They are an influence upon you that if they get their way, if you go along with it, you will be working in a way, you'll approach things in a way that is in discord with your own intuition to what you feel needs to happen or be said or be done, or not be done, withdrawal, even whatever the situation is, you feel inclined intuitively, naturally within yourself that you've learned certain lessons and therefore you don't want to put yourself in that situation again, for example. And they have a way of buttering you up over time and then drawing you in, and you think everything's good and everyone's respected and this is all good, and then the cost comes. They start, when they feel confident enough, they start leaning in on you with a sense of obligation, or they want you to. One good sign of this, of seeing if this is happening in your life, is they want you to. They're encouraging you to go back to the old you, to go back to the old version of you who tolerates everything, who forgives everything. I'm not suggesting not to forgive everything. I'm just saying there's a pattern here, right, of you tolerating, overlooking people's bad behaviour, whatever it is that you put up with, accommodate, ignore, overlook, forgive. And it's always at your expense because you're being disrespected or given the rough end of the deal, sort of thing, through this process. And so you feel like you've learnt your lesson. This person is trying to gently encourage you to feel, they pull on your heartstrings to convince you to go back to the old version of you, who's a pushover. Yeah, in their view. Now, this person, in terms of their awareness of what they're doing, when their actions towards you are 100% with awareness, 100% deliberate. Okay? That needs to be said clearly. Whether they're aware of the damage that their agenda causes you is another question. Okay, and that will vary according to who is watching this. Okay, that'll vary for different people. So they know what they're doing in terms of the actions towards you and what they say to you and trying to manipulate you or influence you in a certain way that is deliberate and very, very conscious. They have great awareness of what they're doing there. But they may not, there'll be varying degrees within different people. They may not be aware of how their agenda actually harms you or affects you. And if we're talking intergenerationally, they don't even have the clarity that they are performing a role that they've learnt from their ancestors, which are also your ancestors. Now, someone in the workplace or a friendship network could be doing that as well, but you're not related, you're working with them or your friends, but they may be playing out their mother wounds that they've inherited through their bloodline or their ancestry into their workplace, because they're in a position of power or an influential position. Same with the friendship group. So you don't have to be related to this person. It can happen. It can be happening in any of those and even all of those things. Because if this is a lesson for you to break through this, the wounding of the divine feminine and the mother wound, then it could quite possibly be happening or coming at you from multiple sources in your life, and you may or may not be able to see it clearly. But the point I was trying to make is this mother figure, let's call it a mother figure, may not have any awareness at all that they are actually carrying that inherited ancestral cycle or wound that they are now playing out. And the proof of the pudding is that, for example, they may, whoever it is, they may sit and speak with you and open up and talk about how they, how this narrative, this ancestral stuff, and they don't have the words for it. They could complain about their lives, the history of their lives. They could complain about how they were mistreated and all they ever did was bring good to a situation or to a family or a workplace or a friendship group, that their intention was good and clear, and they just stayed and stayed and stayed. They kept turning up because they felt expected to, and it was the right thing to do to keep contributing to this situation. But what happened was they kept getting used and abused. They kept getting treated with disregard and yet expected to keep turning up, right? Just as an example. And then you find the hypocrisy of all of this is that is what they're expecting now of you. You know, I know things aren't great in the workplace. I know you're getting abused by so-and-so. I know so-and-so is taking credit for your work and someone else is disrespecting you and da-da-da. But just keep coming. So they won't address it. They won't defend you and they won't address it. But they put pressure on you to keep turning up in a certain way. Keep working with that person. You need to keep working with that person on that project, blah, blah, blah. Same with the friendship group. Is that if there's a dominant female energy there who's expecting you to turn up to the the friendship group events, that get-togethers and whatever else, that keep expecting you to hold the peace and hold the line and keep the peace and do what you have to keep the peace and don't speak up because they want everything to be smooth and working well from them. It's their own selfishness that is causing their need for you to behave a certain way, which is against your best interests. But, you know, so-and-so takes a dig at you every time you're at lunch with your friends. The other one only calls you when they need you and then treats you with complete disregard when they don't need you. Whatever the dynamics are, and this person knows about it and they see it and you've spoken of it, they may have spoken to you of being treated that way in their past, but in their brain, they refuse to see that you're going through exactly what they have been going through. And so instead of them having clarity and awareness around it and say, well, hang on, I'm not going to do this to my friend. I'm not going to do this to my employee or my work colleague. I'm not going to do this to my son or nephew or daughter or whoever. Yeah, because that's what I went through. And I'm not going to be the person in this lifetime who imposes this selfish narrative and a sense of obligation and manipulate this person into having to keep turning up in a way that really is not in their best interest. And not just that, it's traumatizing for them. It's very difficult and painful for them. I'm not going to do that. They don't have that awareness. And if they do, there may be some that do have that they can see the link between how they were treated and how you're getting treated. They simply don't care enough about you because it serves them for you to turn up. Okay, so have a think about that. If none of this makes sense to you and you can't see any of this happening in your life, and it's not describing your past, your present, or inklings of what you're feeling in the future, then leave the video and leave it for somebody else to watch. This is very specific and very Spirit's very clear on how to describe this. So if none of this resonates with you, this dynamic, then just move on to the next video and have a great day. But if you are feeling feeling things resonating within you, then this is a video for you. So if you're in that situation, or you have been, or you find yourself in that situation in the future, Spirit's saying, remember who you are. They want you to see, the thing is that you're so humble and so kind-hearted that you know you're spiritually, you're here on this planet right now in this lifetime for spiritual reasons. You know that you're here to carry out something, but you have really no clue, for some people, no clue what that is. In no way, shape or form are you comfortable with wearing a hat of spiritual warrior, for example. When Spirit's here saying, you are a warrior, you are here, you are charged with the duty, you've accepted the duty for this lifetime to come in and break these cycles of behaviour so that the patterns don't keep reoccurring into the next generation and future lives or whatever the situation is. You're here to break it. Okay? And this represents addressing the feminine wound, the mother wound. Okay? Because pain just gets kept, it's like a relay race, and the pain gets passed on to the next generation and the next generation. Through unconsciousness, a lack of awareness, a lack of enough care for who they're passing it on to. They're not even aware they're passing it on to. They're just being themselves. They don't realise who they are today is someone who's deeply troubled and deeply affected by how they were treated by their mother, employer, wherever the source of pain has come from for them. If they don't have enough awareness around that, they certainly can't see that it's happening for you today. And you can be talking directly to them saying, this is what's happening to me. And they don't see the connection between what they've gone through and what you're going through. As I said, for others, they can see that, but they don't care enough for you to actually change their behaviour and stop interfering and stop manipulating you. Okay? So take that, if this resonates with you, please do take on what Spirit's saying in terms of that is what you're here to do, is one of the things that you're here to do is to break ancestral bindings. And what I mean by all of that is that you will simply learn, and it will require learning because you're such a gentle soul, but you don't realise how strong you are. You will learn not to tolerate any behaviours that pull you away from who you naturally are, what you feel deeply intuitively to do and how to be in your world in response to anything that's going on. Any behaviours coming at you that pull you away from that, especially if they pull you, if they come with some kind of a friendship, a work relationship or family relationship in any way, has the effect of influencing you, whether it's through guilt trips or manipulation of any kind, of influencing you to go backwards in your spiritual journey. And that means to become more tolerant of people or situations where you have been deeply wounded, repeatedly probably. That's what this is. And it means, and the Spirit's saying, take on the fact that you are a spiritual warrior. Yes, you are highly sensitive. You are highly aligned with the divine. You are highly sensitive to people's words, their energies, the whole lot of it. The environment that you're in. at any given time. You've got all that softness and sensitivity, yes, and because of that, that brings you great self-awareness and awareness of what's going on around you. And the lesson here has been for you to stop overlooking what people are showing you in their behavior directly to your face. Okay? Stop overlooking it, stop ignoring it, stop ignoring the red flags, stop refusing to accept people for what they're showing you that they are in this moment. Okay? One of the things that they said to me before I started talking was that this is the trick, what makes it tricky for you is that you really love this feminine energy, this mother figure, or this dominant female, or someone with dominant female energy. You really have great respect and or love for this person, and you want to spend time with them. You want to engage with them, and it can be very successful when they're not playing out a manipulative narrative. And so that's what keeps drawing you in, because you might have had arguments with them before, you've tried to address it and whatever else, and like, okay, yep. But even the way sometimes, if they feel confident enough, sometimes the way that they'll respond to you when you're trying to address it is to guilt you further, is to make you feel bad because, okay, I won't do that anymore then. It's like, well, no, I'm not telling you not to do that. This is a good thing. This is a healthy thing. But when you do it, allow others to do it as well, if need be. And hold space, just like space is held for you when you need to express stuff. For example, you need to do in kind for others. Hold space for them to do whatever they need to do. Whatever's creating the imbalance, you've tried to address it before, or you will in the future, or you're about to, and you can expect, sometimes they agree, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that. Oh, what a bad mother or boss or friend I am. I'll change. And then a few weeks later, they come and kind of attack you on it. They want to feel out your boundaries. Now, as I said, they may not even be aware of what they're doing. Sometimes this behaviour is downright evil. Sometimes it's through demonic attachment that the worst in this person's been brought out. They can be completely unconscious of it. So it's not about you fighting this person. It's about you standing your ground. Standing your ground and saying no to any influence in your life that's expecting you to go backwards, that's expecting you to, expecting you to bow down and even make you question yourself in terms of your newfound confidence or your newfound voice. Yeah? You've been on this journey of are on this journey of self-empowerment, where you find your voice, you find your confidence, you're self doing your self-care, doing things, living life more in line with what makes you feel good and strong and confident, and that puts you more in line with the path that Spirit wants you on, that the Supreme Creator of all wants you on. That's where we need to be, in alignment. If any situation or person is drawing you off course, the warrior energy comes in, because you become stubborn and say, no, I've worked hard to be who I am today. I have worked hard to process my emotions and to self-regulate. I have worked hard to do my shadow work and to address all my past stuff. I've worked hard I've had to learn really painful lessons. And so I've got myself, by the grace of God, by with Spirit's help, my ancestors, I've gotten to this place where I'm in much stronger alignment with my path and myself and my needs, and therefore with the divine, because that's what they want. That's when you'll do your best work. And so I'm not going to go backwards. I'm not going to give up my confidence or shut my voice down or shrink my light or shrink myself and become a smaller version of myself because that's what serves you, makes you more comfortable. I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't resonate with you today, thank you and you're still watching, thank you for continuing to watch, because it may be something, that may be things in what I'm saying that will help you in the future. Perhaps you're seeing this and can't resonate with any of it, but it may be a lesson that you will be learning in the future. So if you're still here, thank you for sticking around. I hope that is all clear to you. I think it's as simple as that. If someone's trying to draw you off your path, when you know that you're coming from a good-hearted, great intention place, you've had to work hard to get yourself into this position of strength and self-empowerment, and you have therefore strong intuition and strong connection to the divine, you will start to see more clearly, if you haven't already, the influences that you have around you, and they're people often that you want to be around, but there's a cost to spending time with them, to engaging with them, and you'll have to keep saying no to that cost, and by all means take time away from them when they behave badly, and you address it. Don't just keep turning up. Don't just keep turning up, because it's saying to that person, you can keep doing this to me, and you can keep trying to do this to me. We'll keep arguing if need be, or I'll keep saying no to you. But this is draining in itself, right? If you keep turning up and that's what they keep doing, the fact that you keep turning up gives them the confidence and courage to say, well, it doesn't matter how I treat them, because they keep coming back. So they obviously need me. They need to be in my energy. Right? When someone feels, particularly someone in an authority position in your life, they feel that you need them, that empowers them to keep on going with what they're doing. Okay? So you need to communicate that it's not on, I won't have it, I won't accept it, I'm not going backwards, I'm only going forward. And so, because you know in that process you've had to let go of certain workplaces, friend networks or friends, lovers, and people in your family, you've had to let go and move forward because they just have a I want to say, I know I've never said these words like this before, but the Spirit's saying trauma network, part of the trauma network. So they're part of the team, and they're not a team, but just for the sake of ease, I'm saying this with a smile on my face. So everything with a grain of salt. But they're part of a team of souls in this lifetime who are here to challenge you, to provide opportunities for you to learn lessons, opportunities to, cause you pain so that you'll get stronger, da da da. Now, that's clearly not their conscious intent, but that's the role they're playing or have played in this life. And you learn the lesson and move forward. Spirit did say earlier, to be forgiving and kind-hearted to whoever this dominant female energy is, even when you can see them enabling bad behaviour of others and expecting you to keep turning up when you're in pain, keep your heart open, because they are someone who's important to you. But the shield and the sword are there to be able to protect yourself. That's part of the new identity of who you are today, right? Is that you if every time you pat the dog bites you, you're going to stop patting the dog, right? you're not going to bother with the dog. But they're saying, while there might be times where you stop turning up for this person because they're not behaving in a manner that they're showing that they're not listening to you or respecting what you're saying or requesting, they're saying come at it with a forgiving heart. Just keep standing your ground and moving forward, and show them that their tricks don't work. So whether their intention, their manipulative behaviour is deliberate and intentional and with malice, or whether it's just blind stupidity that they are just passing the pain on to you that they've been through, in terms of expecting you to turn up for things that don't serve you. Whatever the case may be for them, that's about them. You just stay strong and solid in who you are, and don't get taken off your path, and don't undo all of the amazing work you've done on yourself, because you know what the cost has been. The cost has been great pain. You've had to work through great pain, great confusion, great whatever, and find yourself, the inner core, and work on the inner workings of your psyche, in order to be who you are today. So don't let anyone take you off your path, and be stubborn about it. No, I will not negate myself in order to make you happier. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah? So I don't want to babble on about that. That's basically it. I believe that's all the messages in terms of me channeling that Spirit has for you around that. If anything further comes through, and certainly through the cards, we'll think. But that's the scenario, and that's how you're being encouraged to handle it. Show your strength, be strong and show your strength, and don't be afraid to say no. And when you behave like that, I don't want to see you. Don't ring me for a while. I'll call you when I need to. I don't want to see you for a while, physically catch up with you or whatever. If it's a workplace, you've got to keep turning up. But you can turn up differently. How are you turning up? How are you showing up for yourself? Okay? And it's all about self-empowerment and voicing what you're happy with and what you're not happy with, what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. Or you may not have a choice about what you have to do, but you make it clear, that you're not happy with the situation, or whatever it is that you need to communicate or decide for yourself. Okay? So we'll just do a quick little spread. I'm not going to do a long one. The bottom of the deck, we've got the moon, and we're just doing 3. So we've got the Chariot, Temperance, and the Star. Wow, that is awesome. So what this is showing me is that in the past, so again, if none of this has happened to you yet, or you're in the process of it happening, when I talk about past, present, future, maybe it hasn't happened for you yet. Maybe you're at this stage. For other people, they're at this stage, and for others, they're at this stage and beyond. Okay? So if this scenario hasn't happened for you yet, and it does happen to come into your life, realize that when I'm talking about where you are right now in the past for you, it is actually your future. So I'm going to talk as if you've already gone or already are in this situation, or have already gone through this situational dynamic. Okay, so it shows me that in the past you have exercised your right to move away from people, places, environments that no longer serve you to be around, which is exactly what I was just talking about, right? So Spirit was already giving me the flavour of the first card I was going to pull out before I've even pulled it out. Thank you, Spirit. It shows great strength and clarity and sense of direction. You feel strong enough for anyone to be able to move in a different direction and move in a different way, as in change their behaviours that doesn't accommodate people who drag them down or want to hold them back, hold them down, pull them back under the water. They have to find self-empowerment. They have to feel some strength within themselves, some sense of determination to move away from it. And so this shows a journey leading up to this where you've had enough, where you have physically, mentally, emotionally detached and removed yourself from environments or networks or people or jobs that it really doesn't serve you to stay around. As much as it pains you, it can be very, very, very painful to have to admit that to yourself and then make the decision to disconnect from a people, place, work environment, whatever. It's extremely painful in a lot of cases. But you've found the determination to get on your horse and cart and actually move forward and explore other options for yourself. Okay, whatever it is. Often people with the spiritual calling often will be forced, whether it's a tower moment that happens, some people will understand what I mean by that. They'll be forced to just get away from a certain dynamic or person, place or environment, and they don't even know where they're going, where they're headed, whether it's even any better. They just know they need to move from here because it's causing them great distress or harm. And so that's where the bravery kicks in straight away, and the bravery is fed by the trust in the divine, and it forges a trust within yourself, trust within yourself that I don't know where I'm headed, I don't know what's next for me, but I'm sure as bugger not going to stay in this, because this is messy, chaotic, harmful for me. This encourages me to stay stuck and in servitude, or to keep losing, yeah. And that's not what this life is about. Okay, so that's awesome. If you have been through all that and gotten to that stage, and this is the past card, and got to the stage where you had to move on and get on with your next chapter, congratulations to you. What comes next in terms of present? It's presented as present, but for you it might be future, or you've already been there and you're over here now. You get what I'm saying, right? You're now at the stage where you have stepped out of the troubled waters, and you can see the path before you more clearly than you could before, because that was about just getting away, moving forward. This is about now I've come out of the troubled waters. I'm out of the chaos. I'm out of the situations that caused me pain. I'm away from the people that caused me pain. Excuse me. Quick sip of water. And now it's basically the energy of I'm licking my wounds. See how the angel's pouring from one chalice to another, the water. Now the water represents emotion. You just come out of, this is how Spirit's always explained it to me. Other people may read this card differently. I'm sure they do. You've come out of it, you've been in the troubled waters. The troubled waters means a sense of feeling emotional overwhelm. To be in a situation of confusion and chaos, and to be emotionally overwhelmed. And so you've removed yourself from what was causing the cause of that, and you've then swam to shore and got yourself out of that emotional overwhelm. But you're still needing to process, to tie up loose ends, to it shows me that you're processing what's happened in the past. You're processing your emotions. You're self-regulating yourself, moderating, and very much connecting to the divine. And life is already more fun. You can already feel the sun on your skin. the light, the joy starts to creep in because you've removed yourself from what causes you chaos and discord and pain. Okay? And so once you've been through this period of processing, and that period comes very much with moments of great clarity over what was going on back then. But it can also just know that if it was a situation or a group of situations where that left you with a lot of questions, that can really torment you. And certainly, so sometimes the clarity of, yes, when you reflect on things that happened in the past, and you try to get clarity around it, sometimes the clarity that you get raises more questions. So try not to get stuck up in your head about things. When you have times of reflection, so for me, things can happen where I'll wake up in the morning and I won't have my own thoughts. I'm just waking up. I'm checking with my body and I'm whatever. And, you're sort of halfway between awake and asleep and whatever. And then Spirit will bring in a thought or a feeling. It will be reminding me of someone or something that happened with someone or whatever. And it shows me that, okay, that's what's floating on the surface for me emotionally, for me to look at. But I don't overly engage in dissecting and getting into the nitty-gritty of all of everything attached to whatever that memory is, whether it's a person or place or thing or event that took place. I don't overindulge in the pain of it. I let myself feel it, but I don't try to analyse it to any great degree either. I'm just grateful that Spirit has put that in my lens for me to look at. So how do you see this today? How do you feel about this today, through today's eyes, with all the healing you've done and whatever else? And I let it think. I don't let it really upset me, and I don't become over analytical. So don't get caught up in your head. Just observe those thoughts and memories. If it makes you feel angry or fearful or brings on thoughts of self-judgment or self-criticism, frustration, allow yourself to feel that, but don't indulge in it. Yeah? Don't let it take, don't let it, what are the words? Affect the rest of your day. Yeah? Acknowledge it, feel it, release it, let it out. If you have to do writing or just speaking it out, or crying out loud, or getting angry out loud, or punching into a pillow, or whatever else, and then do what you need to do to feel better. Go and hug a tree. Go and put your hand on a trunk of a tree. Go and spend time in nature. Walk barefoot on the grass, or stand on a rock, whatever barefoot, or just admire the beautiful plants that you've got in your home and connect with nature or with your pets or things like that lift you up. Take a bath, whatever it is. This is all depending on how overwhelming those emotions are when you're processing stuff. But the main thing is, the common thread there is, be kind to yourself and support yourself to feel better. It's not about pushing those emotions down. Let them be there and express them if need be, or however you need to, and then be kind to yourself. And use the structures that you have in your life, whether it's workplace or charity or people that you help in your family or whatever it is. Use those structures to get you through your day, because in those instances they are welcome sort of distractions. Okay, and then when you're next alone, by yourself, it could be that you've gone out and then at the end of the day you've come back home and you've done dinner and whatever, and you're sitting again, or you've chosen to take a bath or have a nice long shower or whatever, or do some yoga. then you can reflect on, how do I feel about it now? Well done to me for getting through my day. And how do I feel about it today? Or, right in this moment. And then you can reflect. But just don't overindulge. Don't put yourself in a hole because you've had, bad stuff happen to you in the past. We learn our lessons, we move forward, and we let the light in. Let the divine shed light on what it is that you're trying to come to terms with and process. Okay, you're not alone. It feels like a very lonely, it can feel like a very lonely process, but you're actually not alone. You have your spirit team, and the divine's always there for you. That never goes away. And then in future, this is the blessing of your painful journey and all the strength that you've had to find to get to this point. This is the blessing that you get, where you feel it's the start. It's where you feel absolutely at peace within yourself and at peace with your environment. You feel very much connected with everything and everyone around you, and very much. See here, the angel is looking down at what she's processing, the water from the water. But the path forward is there, but she's not quite ready, he or she, not quite ready to move on the path yet, because I need to process this stuff and tie up my loose ends. All right, I need to do my emotional bookkeeping and stuff. Yes, we'll talk about emotional bookkeeping in a second. So, well, we already have really, but got some things to clean up before I'm ready to move forward on my journey. And then you do, and where you end up is a much, much, much happier place, and a much stronger and clearer and happier version of yourself than who you were back here. And this is why Spirit's saying, do not let anything, anyone, any environment hold you back, drag you down, tell you that you need to continue to be of service or turn up in a certain way for your family or workmates or whatever, or friends, that really is constrictive and is forcing you to shrink down and hold you back from, from really shining and becoming who you can be, who you are, the full expression of who you are. Don't let anyone do it, no matter how much you care for them. Stand your ground and be stubborn. It doesn't mean you start fighting with everyone, but certainly your tolerance level, what I've discovered is that your tolerance for any manipulation, or your tolerance for anyone's behaviours where they're trying to influence you to do what they find more comfortable, when they've got nothing to do with your life moving forward, but they don't feel comfortable with what you're doing. So they've got to put their 2 bob in. They've got to put their 2 cents in and tell you how they feel about what you're doing. And so, well, just do what you need to do for yourself, and be headstrong about it. Be stubborn about it. You learn to put yourself as first priority, and so that's why you either currently are or will be in a beautiful, peaceful space within yourself. Okay, and really enjoying your life and your environment. And the card underneath was, because this is the theme of it, is the moon, which is about hidden stuff that's not clearly visible. So I'm doing this because I'm talking about the past. In the past, you were left in the dark. You weren't given all the details. People weren't being completely honest with you. Okay? Because they just need you to just turn up and do what you need to do. Turn up and do what we expect you to do. Turn up and be the person we expect you to be, who you've always been. And we'll treat you like a mushroom. We'll give you what we deem, information that we deem necessary for you to know, needs to know basis, right? But I don't know whether you, if there's people from different cultures watching this, I'm saying treated like a mushroom is mushrooms are grown in the dark and often with manure. So it's like you get fed crap and kept in the dark, as in not given the full picture. That's the past. And and so you may be going through a period where the people in your life are sort of looking to you and saying, oh, geez, they're not quite themselves at the moment. Or like you seem a bit down to them, or a bit depressed, or a bit preoccupied. Or in the opposite direction of that, it could be that you are at this stage and you are more bold in your communications of what you won't accept or tolerate. You are more outspoken in a respectful way, but you don't take on people's stuff anymore. You do what makes you happy. And so they can be looking at you with concern, or they can be feeling concern for themselves because you have broken free of the shackles of the past, of things and people, environments that held you back, that encouraged you to be someone lacking confidence, for you to remain in this imbalanced place that didn't serve you. It served you for a time, and it serves you to a point where you then learn a lesson of, oh, I don't need to be this way. How come everyone else gets to take up space and be happy in their lives and do things for themselves, and yet I'm expected to keep turning up in service? And then I'm not paid the respect of being told the full picture, or I don't reap the rewards that others are reaping. It's like I'm just a servant here. That's an extreme example, but I'm just trying to give you an example. And so that moment where you realise, well, no, I deserve the happiness and joy and the potential of all of that in my life too, for myself. And then that's where things start to change. Okay, but so I already talked about the processing of emotions, and that's there. So that's all good. Just know that on this journey, wherever you are, that you, particularly when you start making decisions for yourself and changing the way that you turn up, changing the way that you what's another word for turning up? The way that you show up in your life, the way that you respond to challenges that in the past you might have been submissive and gone, yep, okay, I'll come, I'll do that, yeah, no worries, yeah, no, I know that person's going to be there, and I'll just turn up anyway, and I'll just keep it quiet and keep my energy to myself, and whatever, it's going to upset me, but I'll do what's expected of me, that kind of stuff. It's how you would have done it before, and now you're not doing that anymore, or you won't be. That along the way, you're going to get tested. Multiple times you will get tested on it. And it's like saying, so how strong is your new resolve? How determined are you to be this more confident, more self-caring version of yourself? How determined are you? How long is this going to go on for? Some people will be thinking. Is this who you are now? I can't manipulate you. I can't get you to do something you don't want to do. Is that just a short-term thing, or is that who you are now? Because they need to know whether they need to go and find another source. And some of you will understand what I'm talking about when I say that. Okay? I'm going to leave it there. I hope that this has helped someone, and if it doesn't, as I said, if it doesn't resonate with where you're at today, I hope it helps you in the future, that the fact that you've watched this, and that's all I want, and that makes me happy if it's helped even simply one soul. So have a great day or a great evening, and look after yourself and be kind. Okay? Thank you, Spirit.